What a lovely peaceful day. Oh, let's ruin that. Oh. Forgot to put that away. It's a broken. Right, good evening, ladies and gentle peoples. Look what I'm on. The old Ducati. The last time you would have seen this bike on the channel would have been when I was going down this road I'm about to go down, and this panel came flying off and luckily did not hit anyone. Going down this road because every single time I go down it, something goes wrong. I've had punctures on that road, I've had the Ducati break down numerous times on that road, and also the panel flying off like I mentioned before. Hopefully nothing happens, touch wood. I just touched exactly what you think I just touched. And then I'm going to go over to Halvarssons to get myself a new bulb for the Triumph, because the one I noticed, one of the rear bulbs had gone, and nothing is going to go wrong on the Ducati. As you can tell, all of the panels are back on this bike. I did some plastic welding the other day, which is just those like weird little S-shaped kind of metal plastic weld things. I went up to Caffeine and Machine on this thing at the weekend to meet Ollie and Tom, and it survived. No panels came flying off, although I have spent my entire time looking at the panels. And then I spent today basically reinforcing those welds, the plastic welds, sort of melted in wire meshing behind all of the mounting points to pretty much strengthen them all. I'm supposed to be riding this to Teapot 1's Patreon ride in Swindon. Is it tomorrow or is it Saturday? I don't know whether tomorrow's Saturday or not. I think it's Thursday today, I think. We'll get onto the reason why I'm not sure in a minute. Lol. Engine wise and electronics wise, I don't want to jinx it, but so far engine and electronics have been pretty faultless for the last 500-600 miles. Oh, that was my testes again. I'm also going to spend a bit of time tarting her up a bit. I've got a few little bits for it. I've got new kick plates, heel guard type kick plates, if you know what I mean. You can see I've already fitted my carbon surround on the clock, which I did quite a while ago now. I finally got myself a carbon rear hugger and chain guard. I've got a new steering dampener, a little bit of touch-up paint for the scratch on the tank. I'll probably do a video on that actually, just tarting her up a bit. I've got a new side stand for it because the 916's side stands are very much known for snapping. I've got a 1098 side stand to go on, which is apparently a direct fit, but we shall find out if it is or not. This panel, I was very surprised, considering it went flying through the air. It kind of landed on the grass, so there's very, very minimal damage on it. Like, really, really minimal damage. Yeah, I can tell I'm nervous on it. I don't know why I'm nervous, I didn't crash or anything. Hopefully no car wants to get through here. What basically happened is all of the clips underneath were fine, but I think what happened is the plastic that surrounds the clip snapped. The ones at the bottom, the plastic had broken, which meant the wind got under this panel and it literally just lifted it and ripped it clean off. All of these mounting points is broken, like all the plastic is broken. So you can see I've got brake marks all the way along here, down here, all the way down here. There's one in there as well. The top part of the fairing here had snapped where this had gone into. So this panel is basically fine, apart from the clips at the bottom. They had basically been torn out. Everything. It's just so much damage. To fix this, essentially, I need upper panel this side, like this panel here. I need a new lower panel on that side, so a right upper, left lower. And I need a new nose fairing. The damage on this panel, I don't even know whether you'll be able to see it, but there's a small amount of like road rash here, there's a small amount of road rash there. But I reckon that and that I can polish out without problem. Go. I always forget that this bike is essentially, it's a road going race bike. So the gearing is so fast. You're in first gear and you look down and you're doing like 60-70 mile an hour, like, oh, oops. in terms of getting new panels, oh, gravel, not what I want on this bike. You can get reproduction parts, but as much as this bike isn't original, I don't want repro parts. If I'm going to change anything from factory on this bike, it's not going to be to replace stuff that's functional on this with an aftermarket one, unless they are better in a long way and look original. Like if these mirrors are a bit crap, they like the mechanism on the back brakes quite often. So if I was going to replace those with repro parts, that's fine. If they look anything other than original, I don't want them. The only reason I would go for non-OEM, non-specific, non-actual Ducati parts is if aftermarket ones had been upgraded so they didn't snap and stuff. I just done that road without breaking down, so good girl. The reason I haven't bought panels yet is because, like I said, they are quite hard to find anyway. These are even harder to find on these ones. Basically, I've just been looking for them in the right colour so far. As you can tell by that little elephant there, that shows that this bike was built in the Cagiva factory, so it was just early to mid 90s where Ducati didn't really have the space, so a load of their production bikes were built in the Cagiva factory, which does mean it's a different red. I think Ducatis are like a Rosso red. This bike is actually Cagiva red, or I think it's called Anniversary red. It's got a bit of an orange tint to it, which means it's faster, obviously. Not only am I looking for a Cagiva red panel from a 916, I think some of the early 748s had the same panels. The other thing that's really fun is the Ducati decals. They apparently changed them every single year of production. I'll put a picture on screen anyway, but mine are almost like a glittery edge to the letters. A clear bronzy type of colour. The year after they made this bike, they changed them to like that same glittery effect but red, and then the year after that they changed them to solid gold. I found one set of panels, complete panels. It was just the side panels, it wasn't the nose fairing, and the guy had put them on eBay for £2,700. I'm sorry, but absolutely not. That is someone knowing the rarity of the panels and just going, yep, I'm going to mug everyone off. So I've kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm going to have to buy what panels I can when they're available. I've found a place that you can get the proper decals, and then I'm just going to have to get the whole bike resprayed, unfortunately, because even if I went for the standard red colour that I need, this paint's obviously faded over the years. A fresh painted bike is not going to look the same as my 30-year-old paint. Getting on to the reason I am able to go for a ride at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, and the reason I don't even know what day of the week it is. And that is because, what's probably in the title on this, I no longer have a job. And not in the, look at me, I've just given up my work to become a full-time YouTuber. Not that at all. Basically, I worked for a company called The Mill. It was a post-production company. They used to do like the CG, like the visual effects in adverts. I've worked for them for 9 years now. About 10 years ago they were bought out by Technicolor, who are, or were, a very large corporate sort of film company. When I joined, it had only just sort of been taken over, maybe a year and a half, something like that. Technicolor had billions in debt. It was ridiculous. The amount of times that company went through restructuring, refinancing, new investors, redundancies quite regularly. I'm a middle management wanker, I guess you'd call me. Close to senior management, I guess, by the time I was given my little bit of paper. It was the standard, like, copious amounts of cutbacks, do more work with less money and less staff, that kind of thing. The problem is, with so much debt that Technicolor had, we could have easily earned 20, 30, 40, 50 million in a year. It would still not make a dent on what their debt is. They brought in new CEOs to try and solve problems, CEO after CEO after CEO, who were just useless. At one point they acquired a DVD company. No one's watched DVDs for a decade. Like, if someone bought me a DVD now, I wouldn't have anywhere to put it. And they kept going on about how good DVD sales were, and you're like, you literally have not got a clue what you're doing. I'm sure there was a load of like backhand deals and stuff like that. Over the last couple of months, my work has honestly been hell. It's just been so shit.
my direct boss was the chief operating officer, so I reported into him. We got a new MD that started, then I changed to report into him. Every conversation I had with them was like, oh, by the way, we're going to have to get rid of this, or by the way, we're going to have to do this. Why are we bringing in a new software? Why we don't have the money to bring in the software? Why are we doing this? Because we've been told we're doing it, and I've got no choice in the matter. It's Technicolor Group. That was the level of bullshittery that we were having to deal with. You kept going because there was always talks about us being bought out. These talks have been going on for years, and there was an investor, and then the investor dropped out, and then there was an investor, and then the investor dropped out, type thing. I'd love to see the mill thrive again. I'd love to see all the other companies that Technicolor own thrive again. I've been here long enough and I've gone through enough shit, enough hell, that I want them to pay me to leave rather than me walk out the door. Listen to that lovely V-twin burble all the way down the hill. Before, again, I don't really want to jinx this, but this thing has been running flawlessly. I haven't been really spanking it, but it's run flawlessly and my panels are still on. Whoop whoop! So I was meant to be paid on the 24th of February. That was a Monday. On the Saturday beforehand, I had a message from one of the guys I used to work with, and he basically said, please don't tell me that's true. And I went, what do you mean, please don't tell me that's true? Like, I haven't got anything, no email, no work emails have come through. What are you on about? There was all this talk on Reddit about how all of our US offices had a WARN notice sent to them. They sent this email out basically saying, by the way, there's a very, very high chance on Monday morning we're going to put the company into liquidation / into administration, and you're not going to have a job. Love it when the kids ask you to rev and you're like, yes, of course I will do that. Which is pretty shit going, considering no one outside of the US was told. And then the Sunday evening, I got the dreaded email as well. 7 or 8 PM on Sunday evening, you'll find out on a call in the afternoon what that means for you. Basically, yeah, you're not going to have a job. And by the way, there's not enough money to pay anyone on the payroll, so you're not getting paid tomorrow. A properly cowardly way of doing it. Absolutely ridiculous, cowardly way of doing it. I spent all weekend stressing about losing my job, if I was going to lose mine as well, blah blah blah. Because I'm in a position of management, people come to me to ask questions like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Am I going to get paid tomorrow? I'm like, I literally haven't got a clue. I've just seen this as well myself. Normally my pay comes through into my bank account at 2 or 3 minutes past midnight. 10 past midnight, still no pay. 20 past midnight, still no pay. 1:45 in the morning, still no pay. Obviously it didn't come. And then at 5:30 they dialed us all into a call, and it was a guy basically from the administrators just going, basically reading out a very abrupt, brutal statement, just going basically, there's no money, you're not getting paid. Obviously it was more embellished than this. If you want the money you're owed, you're going to have to try and claim it back through the government. There's no time for questions. If you want more questions, we'll send you an email to a line that you can call. I will end the call now, bye. Like, I've been there 9 years, right? So it's still a decent chunk of my life. People have been there 25, 26 years, 30 years. Really shitty way to basically lose your job on a Sunday night with no warning at all. I'm sure it's not legal. They probably had some form of a lawyer tell them what they have to do to make sure they don't get sued. Whether they have paid that lawyer is a different conversation, because they still haven't paid us. They haven't paid freelancers, they haven't even paid the bloody rent, they haven't paid the lighting bill or anything. So yeah, anyway, enough of that bollocks with them. As the old saying goes, I wouldn't cross the street to piss on the management if they were on fire. Utter ruin to people's lives. Sorry, this is getting quite a heavy video, isn't it? What does that mean for me? I guess there's a few people that have asked me, I put this on my Instagram basically, there's a few people that asked me if I was going to go full-time YouTube. I'd love to. YouTube, you hear this a million times over a day, but YouTube just doesn't pay enough money. My Patreons, my absolute heroes that are Patreon. Some of the Patreons, Perry and a few others, they've upped their Patreon monthly donation because of this. You guys are unbelievable. If I could do more for you, I would, and I will. Eventually, I will pay you back somehow. I don't know how that's going to be. I'm going to pay you back though, because you absolute bunch of legends. Don't get me wrong, I had a pretty bad month last month, but I earned a whopping total of £175 from YouTube last month. That, with the Patreon, isn't enough to pay my bloody council tax, let alone my mortgage. As much as I appreciate every single one of you watching and liking and subscribing and all that sort of stuff, it's not viable for me yet. I should title this as, what does YouTube pay me after 4 years? But even the best months on YouTube, I earn, I don't know, 300 quid. It is definitely the worst paying job I've ever had. The amount of hours and everything that go into it and stuff I spent. I mean, I do it because I love it and I love you guys. The comments I get and the reactions I get from people going, oh hello, I recognise you. And then you have a 15-20 minute chat with someone that you have no idea who they are, and they're just lovely. Without that, I wouldn't do it. I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of money behind me, so I've got some savings, which is enough that's going to pay my bills, it's going to pay my mortgage, I'm not going to be homeless, it's going to pay the bike. I'd literally just put a hold on another bike, which some of you, well, Patreons know exactly what it is. I just put a hold on another bike, and that's going to have to wait now, obviously. It's going to rinse my savings, but it is what it is, type thing. I'm very much going to put a bit of time into YouTube until I get that job. I've done, as much as I know some of you don't like it, I've done some bike reviews with Williston BMW. You would have seen the first one last week. Bike reviews are the thing that bring views in, unfortunately, as much as I don't really particularly enjoy doing them. So I'm doing a bit of that to up my money on YouTube. Like I said, my Patreon are my beautiful Patreons, the ones that support me all the way along and have supported me up to this point. You fucking legends. The ones that upped your Patreon amount as well when they hear that. I mean, you really do not need to do it, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. In terms of getting a real job, I put a post on my LinkedIn page. All it basically said was, what's happened to the mill is horrendous and I'm gutted. There are people out there that don't, well, my direct reports, my team that reported into me, a lot of them don't have savings, most of them have mortgages, rent to pay, at least like as a very minimum, children to feed. One of them was on a contract with us, she was maternity cover, so she basically gets nothing. And the other one hadn't passed the 2-year mark with the company, so he gets very minimal, if anything, redundancy. So I basically put on LinkedIn, look, if there's anyone out there hiring for this list of job specs, I want to get my team jobs, I want to get people in the artist department jobs, anyone I can get a job, I will be happy. I don't know if there's such thing as viral on LinkedIn, but it got like 15,000 views in the first day or something like that. It gets more views than my bloody YouTube gets. I had messages from all these different people, like managing directors, CEOs, operations people, recruitment people, the lot, just saying, send some names over, we'll do our best to employ as many people as possible. God, I love this bike so much. I love this thing so much. What am I doing? Oh, I'm going to get bulb, aren't I? And also on that, I just put, oh, and also at the bottom, if anyone fancies off like talking to me about a job, I'm pretty open as well, as it seems. People reshared it, there were so many likes and sort of comments and all sorts of stuff. The support that have come out of it has been unbelievable. Off the back of that, I've had a couple of different offers of like consultancy work, job offers from different things like recruitment companies and stuff like that. Sorry, I've got to do it. I've got nothing solid yet by any means, but I've got a few things ticking along. If I'm completely honest, I'm quite enjoying being unemployed. Going to the gym at a good time, I'm getting a load of stuff done. Oh, I had a couple of days of being quite lazy, getting up late and going, no, I can't do this. I'm going to treat it like I've got a 9 till 6 job again. I'm going to write myself a list of stuff I'm going to get done on that day, and I'm going to get most of it done, if not all of it done. And it's actually been quite a productive thing. I'm jobless, but the Ducati is in one piece. Panel hasn't fallen off or anything. So I'm going to go and get this bulb from Halvarssons.
That is a very polite vest coloured Abarth, isn't it? Thank you very much for listening to me ramble. Thank you very much for listening to me rant. Probably needed this more than I thought I did. Thank you very much for all of your support, all of your likes, subscribes, follows. The Patreons, you are literally paying for this thing right now, because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to make the financial payment on this thing. Hopefully the next video you watch will be more of an upbeat one and less upset Sam because he hasn't got a job and Technicolor CEOs are cunts. I'm going to have to bleep that word out because my mum doesn't like that word. She says it's so aggressive. I don't like that word. She sounds like she's from Essex. She's not from Essex. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go get a bulb. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye, love you forever, bye.